Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Lewis Hamilton Career Mode on F124. This is episode 3 of season 3 and we have a secret meeting to begin the episode. Now, on paper, we are finishing this series this season, so I don't think this will go anywhere, but we'll entertain the idea and see what it is. In the meantime, the previous episode, guys, round 2 at Jeddah, go watch it. Spoiler warning directly ahead, so go check it out. Link in the top right, as always. Anyway, secret meeting time. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Before we do, quickly recapping the last episode at Jeddah, we got our first win of the season. Not just that though, a 1-2 finish with Lando Norris. And as you can see, we did reap the benefits from that pretty nicely post-race as well. So, yeah, good day at the office. We fended off Verstappen at the finish. We had to manage a few things during that race, and luckily we came out ahead. Now, we jump into the secret meeting, and it's Aston Martin who are interested. And don't get me wrong, the thought of Lewis Hamilton racing in Aston Martin does actually make my mouth water a little bit, and it's an interesting prospect. But we're going to stick with the plan and stick with the game plan and the story mode of this season.
Hey, just a quick one for me. The team are pleased that you've declined that meeting. Gold star, brownie points, etc., etc. I guess we'll see if anything else more exciting comes calling, but let's focus on our current seat for now.
Now, I think internally that went down really well with the team. That aside, let's talk about specialists again. So, we're not going to select any for this episode. It seems to be working well for us, not choosing any, and we have them all maxed out. So we skip ahead on the timeline. We've got a lot of upgrades from Lando Norris, 4 of them to be exact, and all 4 arrived. So I decided to then spend my points on the upgrade we was going to do in the last episode for the wheel rim covers. So we're really advancing, developing, and improving and moving forward as we jump into the Australian Grand Prix weekend. Now, Mercedes this time have to have an upgrade removed at random for this race. However, we'll only know what that was when we see the performance chart for the next episode. So far, it's been Red Bull taking the brunt, and this weekend we have rain for the race, so things could get pretty crazy. The whole race, heavy rain. You can see, interestingly, a lot of teams have brought a huge upgrade package this weekend, much like us, but Mercedes taking a huge jump forward. Red Bull second, and of course they've lost the 2 upgrades in the first 2 races, so they've had to basically go sideways. But Merc will take a hit in the next race, or we'll visibly see the hit in the next race. Either way, they still have a very strong package, and I think even if they lose an upgrade, they're still going to be top because they have such a big raft of updates this weekend. I think it's going to be tough to, get anywhere near them. Now we jump into practice, and I only did 3 timed laps, not 5. The reason for that is because I wanted to just basically get a baseline, but all this data is irrelevant because the race is contested in wet conditions, so I can't even load the race run simulations into my race strategy in the race, so it's completely irrelevant. It's just good to know where the car is, where the setup is, and where the baseline is. And you can see here we had a very good tyre wear level, also fuel consumption pretty good as well, pace all looking good ahead of the deltas, and generally we had a good session. Lando and I were really quick on the mediums, 5th and 6th. The car looks quick. However, Lando was half a second quicker, but that was also the case in Jeddah, and we turned up in qualifying. So either way, practice done, secret meeting done, it's time for qualifying.
Hello everyone, it is time for qualifying at one of our very favourite stops on the calendar. It's Albert Park, and we're about to take the cars right up to the edge.
Now we begin with Q1 as always as we pass the Ferrari. I've run a bit deep into the braking zone there, which is a bit of a costly one, but we'll probably lose no more than, I'd say, 2/10 at maximum, maybe a 1/10 and a half. The rest of the lap though was pretty decent. First proper lap in anger, DRS being used and really sending it around Albert Park. We do a 1:15.3, we go second, 4/10 though behind George Russell, which is pretty insane. By the end of Q1, Verstappen went quickest with a 14.6. We finished P9 in the end, so not a particularly great lap, but the gaps are pretty close. The big surprise was Lance Stroll, just making it through in P14. Other than that, no surprise knockouts, and we jump into Q2. Now, it's gone overcast, but no rain predicted in this session, as we, again, are having to navigate some traffic as we pass Bottas there in the Audi. Now making our way towards the final few corners in Sector 3. Another car up the road, but I don't think we'll get close enough. I think it's a DHL Haas, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. So just making our way through the final corner now to close out the lap. Let's see, 15.3 we did in Q1. Our first lap in Q2. It's a really good lap, actually. And we do a 14.7. P3, purple Sector 3 on the minimap. But again, Mercedes 1-2 with Sainz. A 14.5 up the sharp end. Leclerc does find some time. Verstappen goes slower than Q1. No surprise elimination, but Mercedes, with those upgrades, get a 1-2 finish. A sign of things to come? We're going to find out. Q3 time then, beginning our lap. Verstappen does a 14.0 off the rip, which is a huge benchmark time, and everyone now has to go and beat it. Now, we have actually done a pretty decent lap. We're a 10th up on Pierre Gasly at the second split, which gives us around a 14.6, but Sector 3 is our strongest sector, and we just passed Verstappen there as we look to close out the lap, and this is where we just make up more time on the AI. I think we're running maybe a touch more wing. Either way, making our way through the last corner now, closing out the lap. DRS open to the line we go. A 14.7 in Q2. In Q3, we do a 14.3. Third place, 3.5 off Verstappen, and that's not too shabby. I'm pretty happy with that. That was a really strong lap, a very complete lap, and you can see this is the order heading on to the final run. So we need to find a good few tenths. Sector 1 is where we're losing the time, so let's see if we improve. It's time for the final lap in qualifying here at Australia. P2, not bad at all. A slight, small micro moments of time where we could have gained a little bit, but generally a very, very, very good lap. And Verstappen was just quicker today. Bottom line, Norris P7, and we do beat him by 0.3 in the end. And Mercedes, for all those upgrades, actually finished P4 and P6. So Verstappen still performs, we still perform, and Leclerc still performs. So qualifying done, it's now time for the wet race.
It's been a tough couple of years for this venue. We really missed Albert Park. It is a warm welcome back to the Australian Grand Prix. We're close to Port Phillip Bay for today's race at the 3.28 mile Albert Park circuit. It is very bumpy out there on the surface of the racetrack. 14 corners, some of which were remodeled in 2022. We have wet conditions today, so watch out for a safety car at some point during the Grand Prix. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Russell, Perez, Sainz, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Stroll, Teo Porcher, Tsunoda, Zhou, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Albon, Ricciardo, Behrman, Ocon, and Oscar Piastri. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Welcome to the commentary box and welcome to Naomi Schiff. I'm Alex Jakes. Naomi, this is going to be interesting. Well, they're having a better time than their teammates so far this year. How do you keep that momentum going? Well, it's all about forgetting last time because that was a bit of a shocker. How do they change the story today?
It is true, they had a really tough day in the office last time out, but they cannot dwell on that. It's so important to turn the page and start on a blank slate because the more you dwell on that, the less it's going to push you in the right direction. So take some notes. Obviously, there's things to be learned, but move on.
Now this race should be interesting. We start on the front row alongside one Max Verstappen. Heavy rain conditions for the entire race. Could we see inters? That's the big question. That could be a possibility. The AI tend to run what the game does. So if it's heavy rain, they'll go wets. If it's light rain, they'll go inters. But sometimes, as we know, things aren't as simple as they look. So it's possible or likely that maybe an inter is a better compound. Either way, we're going to start on wets for now. There is a pit stop in the race, so we'll decide if maybe switching to a green walled Pirelli is the better option. Either way, fuel, I'm going for 0.5. I don't want to take risk. I feel like I could go low, possibly minimum, and it would be fine, but I don't know how the calculations are made. I can't load my race runs, my simulations from practice, hence why I only did 3 laps, because when it's a wet race, you can't load them on. So we're running the projected strategy, so I don't want to go lower just in case. Either way, car feels good, setup feels good. We're going to get into it, see what happens, and hopefully we can run a good pace and fingers crossed at the end of it, come out on top. This is way too slow. We're going to have no tyre temperature at the start at all. We're going to be in big trouble here. It's hard to weave also in these conditions with such cold tyres. But Verstappen's just not going fast. I don't even know what the temperature is for the wet tyres, but I don't think we're anywhere near what we need to have. Trying to warm up something, but it's just not working. So this is going to be a rough start, I think. Anyway, we'll hope for the best. Right, here we go. Lights on, down under, in Australia. Verstappen with a poor getaway. We don't get away too badly as we head towards turn 1. We've got Leclerc on our outside, which we just managed to keep behind, so Verstappen gets away out of turn 1. Let's stay in the middle of the road here. Down towards turn 3, we need to adapt to the conditions after driving dry conditions in qualifying. The AI of course will be on pace right away, so it'll take me a few laps to get acclimatized. Further back, no big changes. Russell, Perez having a bit of a scrap there, but no surprises. Verstappen's completely gone though, my god, 2 seconds already. No DRS of course, and the entire race will be contested in these conditions.
For a while now, at least a 20-minute window of heavy rain. It's hard to say if inters or wets are better right now.
Leclerc tried to have a look there, caught me a bit by surprise, but we kept him at bay. Visibility is quite poor on the actual tarmac, so I can't see the track limit lines from a distance, and I can't see where the corners are. Hopefully things improve and we get a bit of a dry line form, but for now, just having to suffer through this. I'm going to move my brake bias forward a little bit, as I am just rear locking a touch, and you don't want to overheat the rears. I'll go 56. How's our tyre temp? Okay, nice and warm now, so we can start to try and drive, but the conditions are pretty miserable. The rain is coming down quite heavy. At this stage we've got a yellow
flag
behind someone off at turn 1, I think it's Perez. As the Mercs make progress, but no safety car as Perez rejoins in last place. Verstappen 28.7. We go purple in the last sector, so just starting to find a little bit of pace maybe. We're slower than Max. Don't have the pace right now. We're keeping a gap to Leclerc, but Verstappen's in a different league right now.
Okay, Lewis, we're currently burning through fuel a bit quicker than we'd like, so let's try and make it last for now, please.
Oh my god, we are as well. I didn't even realise. Uh-oh. We might have a big issue here. Oh. Ricardo, out.
Okay, ignore that objective. Focus on your VSC Delta instead.
Huge. Absolutely huge. I'll take that. Great chance to save some fuel and get our batteries charged as well. Massive. So Ricardo out of turn 1 or turn 2.
Right, drop your speed. Our Delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Try and lift as much as possible. Wow, already over.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until we get the green flags. VSC ending. Wait for the greens. Okay, there's been an incident on track resulting in loose debris. Fortunately, the marshals have managed to clear it up in time and there are so far no plans for a safety car.
Not a great VSC relaunch. I lost a lot of momentum there, almost sped. So Leclerc close again. Still, we've got a bit of fuel, which is good.
Caution, caution.
We'll hopefully save some in the pit stops as well as we head by the stricken V-carb. Surprised the VSC is still, well, not has been called in because Ricardo was still there. Meanwhile, Leclerc challenging here, so he'll have to defend the inside. And he opens the door for Russell to go through. First one of the race. I can't see the apex. The track's too shiny. There is a line starting to form now though, so watch this space regarding possible inters at the stop.
Okay, Lewis. Picking your moments to use ERS is important, so let's try and be as consistent as possible with it, please.
Personal best by 4/10 on that lap. Russell is right up behind me, so he's really pushing me right now. Russell's super quick. We've dropped Leclerc, so the Mercs are fast. Those upgrades are working. And I'm finding it really hard to keep Russell at bay. He's constantly within half a second. We're actually catching Verstappen a little bit. But Russell's forcing me to push. Now we're finding a bit of pace. Purple sector 3, we go even quicker by a 10th. So now we're starting to unlock a little bit of pace, but I'm on the limit constantly. The dry line is really appearing. I'm going to go for inters when I box at my stop. I'm not going to box early, we're going to stick to the strategy. But when I do box, we're going inters. Also, our fuel is a concern, hence why I have to go inters to roll the dice. Maybe it's a better time, we can save some fuel and make our race. This has been a really good lap. Purple in the first sector, which is rare. Still up on the Delta. And we go purple, 28.0. I don't feel like the conditions have changed. I just found a bit of pace on that lap, but I am really eating up my rears. Same goes for the fuel. Just in the negatives now by quite some way. We're going to need some fuel management in this race. I'm just trying to see if I can not let Max get away, and maybe on the inter we can fight back.
Oh, mate, great stuff. You hit that target. That sets us up nicely for the rest of this race.
Currently, we've got okay pace. I'm just trying to manage fuel, not get too far into the negative. Just going to manage it until we box, because I don't want to have to really work on fuel later. So if I can do a bit of saving now, that will help. I think the inter is going to be way quicker. When there's a visible, notable dry line like this, it's the way to go. Right then, used everything on this lap. Let's box, manage to keep the fuel at 0.05. We're going to switch to the inter, Verstappen pits. I'm assuming they'll all go for another set of wets, and that's what I'm banking on here. So let's not spin on the pit entry and let's bring her in. Intermediates are going to be the right tyre, I think. I'm pretty certain. Here we go. Good stop, please, boys. No, it's a slow one. Slow stop. We got held by Russell leaving, so we lose a position. Not really saving any fuel in the pit lane either, which is kind of hurting.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
We're in a bit of traffic here, so that might help us save a bit of fuel initially. Let's see if I'm right. Leclerc behind, you can see, who I believe pit last lap. Let's see if we have any grip. Oh yeah, yeah, that feels pretty decent to me. A bit oversteery, but it feels manageable. Yeah, this is okay. We can cope with this. Right, a little bit of fuel saving. Although we may have to pass Joe because he'll likely be slow. I'm going to try and set up the exit out of the chicane, so we're not going to use any battery here. We're just going to sit in behind. This will be a true test of the grip, but you can see, yeah, this is way quicker. Just got so much rolling momentum that I had to get out of it, but we should be able to get this one done. On the brakes around the outside, easy.
Lando's in the pits. Lando in the pits.
Right, now we can do some big lifting and coastings. I think we've got a tyre advantage for the rest of the race. What we need to know is the wear level. We need to know if this tyre wear is quite fast or quite slow and consistent. Everybody's in, so clean track, clean air. Verstappen leads. The question is, can we somehow manage this race where we can keep our fuel and somehow cash back up to the front?
Okay, Lewis, we've got some clear track in front of us, and let's make the best of it. So please make this next one a very fast lap.
Verstappen 27.6. That's the reference. We're not trying to push yet.
Oh, great stuff. You hit that target. Really good job.
This tyre can go. This tyre can race. I'm just trying to save fuel at the minute. Well, stroll out. Second retirement of the race.
Virtual safety car deployed. Slow down and maintain a positive delta. Virtual safety car is deployed. Right,
Now
drop
that-
the speed. Our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
That is huge. That's a big one. We get to save fuel and battery. After this, I will probably push. I'll have to manage fuel again, but I want to at least try and go to the back of Russell, and then we can save fuel behind him as well in slipstream. But this is massive for us.
Okay, VSC ending. We're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags.
Right then,
Green flag.
0.4. That's a lot better. Now we've got a bit of fuel to push. 10 laps to go. Let's go onto Russell right away, and let's try and get the fastest lap of the race as well. We'll use our battery on the next lap. So let's push. Key phase of the race. This has been a lot more like it. I've tried to pick up the pace, not go crazy. So I'm still doing some fuel control. You can see we've only burned about 0.05, which would get us to the end. But we drop into the 26s and show the pace we've got. Just want to get within Russell's slipstream and try and save a bit of fuel in there.
Okay, Lewis. Russell's ahead of you now. We can't let them hold us up for too long, so let's try and get past as soon as possible and crack on. Push, push.
Yeah, leave me to it. I'm on it. I'm on him. We're here. We've got the pace now. Just a little bit of fuel saving until I know I'm safe to the end of the race. And we'll pull the trigger and we'll try to race after Max. But, I mean, I'll take a P2 with this fuel trouble. But, just got to wait a little bit.
Okay, we have a problem with ERS. We have a problem with the ERS.
Well, no, it's not the ERS, it's the engine. I'm down to lean. So we're going to save fuel, but we're going to be underpowered. Well, I guess that's a bit of a hidden freebie. It means we can basically push because we'll be saving fuel regardless. So we'll give it a shot and we'll try and pass Russell then and see if we can gain that position and chase after Max, because now we're saving fuel for fun. So now we can get stuck in. I don't have a ton of battery, so we're going to have to just recharge a little bit. Right then, let's try and get George on the exit of the chicane. Going to set him up. There we go. Gotta wait. I want to get the inside line.
Yes, mate, we hit the target. Nice work. Okay, information on Verstappen. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Wow, the timing on that is unbelievable. Right, well, it's game on now. Let's see if we can get the burners on and try to race after him. Can we catch him? Russell right now not going anywhere, joining us for the ride, so we're going to have to try and shake him off first. Let's see what sort of pace Verstappen's doing. Max is bleeding time. Gap is under 3 seconds. It's game on. 2 laps to go. We'll be there on the last lap, if not next lap. Here we go. We're on the back of him. His pace is picking up a little bit. He's getting quicker. I think he's actually maybe even fixed his issues now. Not quite sure. I think now the difference...
The radar suggests that this heavy rain will be with us for a while now.
I think the difference is now the tyres. Like with Russell, he was quicker on these tyres. Let's see. If Russell starts to catch, then Verstappen's still in trouble. But it's going to go into the last lap of the race here. But I think Max is okay. He doesn't seem particularly slow anywhere. Just generally, the tyre difference. We'll try and set him up through here. And pass him right away. Oh my god. What's my tyres? Oh, I've got 29 on the left rear. We've eaten through our tyres. I think Max is still slow because Russell's catching us here. But he's definitely not as slow as he was when I was trying to catch him quickly. Our rears are giving up at the wrong time. Come on. We've got plenty of straights now to do this move. Easy does it. Prepare for the early break. And now we drive off. Wait for it. Now. Come on. Here we go. To the inside. Verstappen tries to get across, but leaves it late. And we're through. We're good through the chicane. We're very, very good. Very quick. And there we go. We hook it up and we're away. Will Verstappen even finish in second place? We're about to find out. In the meantime, what a dramatic race. Absolutely insane. 2 VSCs, fuel trouble throughout, slight engine issue as well, but after all of that, Verstappen's Red Bull gives way, and we are going to come through for back-to-back victories this season and extend the championship lead. Wowza.
Mega job, guys. What an amazing result. Thank you so much. So proud of you all. Let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing.
The longest winless streak of his career is over. Lewis Hamilton takes the checkered flag.
Well, that's 2 race wins in a row for them. I think they'll be really happy with that. I mean, 1 race win is great, but to have 2, you know that you've got it. You're a little bit more comfortable in your skin. This is a great sign of maybe what's to come next.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track.
And there it is then, victory in Australia. Huge performance in the end. We struggled a lot in that first stint on the wets. Just couldn't quite get the balance or the consistency going at any point. But crucially, we stayed calm. I knew the Inter was the right tyre for the second half of the race. We made that call and it worked out and we got the win. We also picked up the fast lap of the race. So it just highlights those small details make a big difference. And we scored maximum points in Australia, outscoring Max Verstappen. Both Mercedes 3-4, Lando P5. A big surprise, Perez only P11 does not get points, and Hulkenberg and Paul Chair break into the top 10. So let's delve into the standings. After 3 rounds, we are 13 points to the good. Norris trailing off 37 behind. In the Constructors, 25 over Red Bull and 51 over Mercedes. So we'll take it. Good stuff. Ferrari overtake Aston Martin as well. And there's going to be a lot, guys, for today's episode. On screen now you have the post-race fallout regarding our driver stats, of course also our recognition versus Lando, where I think we should be closer to 54-46 split now as well, and yeah, generally just a good day in the office. So yeah guys, cheers for watching, hopefully you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, as always a massive shout out to the channel members for supporting the videos and the content. As always, check out the 2 videos also on screen right now guys if you want to see more content from me, and yeah guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and that's goodbye from me. Adios.